What's up guys, today I'm going to show you how to prepare for and build your own PC step by step. First we'll go over the main parts of a computer and what they look like and what they do. Then we'll talk about how to choose the right parts depending on your budget, and finally we'll go through the actual building process. I wanted to give a small disclaimer before we start the video. Please keep in mind that this is not the best tutorial for building a PC and is not the only one you should use when building your PC. This is just a small thing that might help you, and you should always watch other videos and do your own research before deciding to build your own computer. Thank you and please enjoy. Part 1. Understanding the main PC components. The CPU, or Central Processing Unit, is often called the brain of the computer. It processes instructions and calculations that allow programs to run. Physically, the CPU is a small square chip, usually the size of a large coin. On one side it has either tiny metal pins or flat contact pads, and on the other side there is a metal plate called the heat spreader, which helps transfer heat to the cooler to keep the CPU cool when processing information. It installs into a special socket on the motherboard. The motherboard. The motherboard is a large circuit board that connects all of the components together. It's usually a flat, rectangular board covered in circuits, connectors, and slots. It has several important areas, such as the CPU socket, which is a square slot where the CPU goes, the RAM slots, which are long vertical slots, the PCIe slot, which are where the graphics card and the internet card, if you need it, goes, the M.2 slots, which are used for modern SSD storage, and the power connectors for the power supply. You can think of the motherboard kind of like a central highway that allows all of the parts of the computer to communicate, or like a nervous system. RAM. RAM stands for Random Access Memory, and it's the computer's short-term memory. Physically, RAM sticks are long, thin circuit boards, usually around the length of your hand. They have a gold connector strip at the bottom and a small notch on the left side that ensures that they can only be inserted in the correct way on the RAM slots so as to not damage them. Now usually with most modern RAM and gaming RAM, they usually have a cover around them to protect them, and sometimes even LED lights to make them look cooler in a gaming PC. Storage. Storage is where the computer permanently stores files, programs, and the operating system. There are two common types: HDD, or hard disk drive. This is a rectangular metal box around the size of a phone, but a bit thicker and wider. Inside are spinning disks that store data. And SSDs, or solid state drives, are much faster, and they have two types: a small rectangle similar to a thin hard drive, or a M.2 SSD, which looks like a small stick of gum that goes directly on the motherboard. The GPU. The GPU stands for the Graphics Processing Unit, and it's one of the most important parts in the PC because it processes images and graphics. Physically, it's one of the largest components in the computer. It looks like a long rectangular card with large fans on the bottom and a metal bracket on one side. It plugs into the motherboard using a PCIe slot and connects to the monitor. The power supply, or PSU, provides electricity to the computer. It takes the electricity from the wall and converts it into the correct voltage for each part, and it usually looks like a small metal box with a fan on top and many cables coming out of it, or lots of ports, and it comes with a lot of cables. These cables connect to the motherboard, graphics card, any storage devices you might have, and some other components. The PC case. The case is the outer frame that holds everything together. Cases are usually rectangular metal boxes with glass or metal side panels, and inside they have mounting ports for the motherboard, power supply, fans, and drives. Some cases come with lights or fans already installed, and some don't, but they come with places for fans and lights to be installed. Physically, a CPU cooler usually has a metal heatsink with a fan on top, while case fans are circular fans mounted in the case to move air through the system. There are exhaust and intake fans, and there are optimal places to place them. A AIO looks like multiple fans connected together with wires going straight into the CPU, and liquid cooling is a lot of tubes connected to one big tank with a liquid inside. Part 2. Choosing the right parts before actually building the PC. Before building a PC, you need to choose parts that work well together and fit your budget. Major PC component companies. Some of the main companies that make PC parts include Intel and AMD for CPUs, Nvidia and AMD for graphics cards, Asus, MSI and Gigabyte for motherboards, and Samsung, Western Digital or Kingston Technology for storage. These companies make many of the most popular and reliable PC components, but there are also others that are also just as good. Example PC builds for each budget. Now these builds are going off the United States dollar and current trends and prices of PCs. $500 budget PC. A $500 PC is good for schoolwork, web browsing and some light gaming, but if you use used parts or get some deals, you could use them for heavy tasks and gaming as well. Examples of some parts you could use are: for the CPU you could use the AMD Ryzen 5 5600G, the G stands for built-in graphics. For the motherboard you could use a B450 or B550 motherboard. For RAM, 16GB of DDR4 should do well, but recently RAM has exploded in price and is projected to become cheaper eventually. For storage, a 500GB or 1TB SSD, and for the power supply, you'll need about a 500 to 600 watt power supply. This type of system may not need a separate graphics card because the CPU already includes graphics, but for heavy gaming and some heavy tasks like video editing, if you could get a good deal, it is preferable to get a separate CPU and GPU because separately they would increase performance by a lot. $1,000 budget PC. $1,000 PC is mid-range and is good for most modern games and multitasking. Examples of some parts you could use are a AMD Ryzen 5 7600 for the CPU. For this GPU you could use the Nvidia GeForce RTX 5060. For RAM, 16 to 32GB of DDR5 RAM should be more than enough. For storage, 1TB NVMe SSD should do more than enough. Motherboard, B650 motherboard, and for the PSU, 650 watts should be more than good. This type of build can run most games smoothly at 1080p and some at 1440p. A $2,000 PC. $2,000 PCs are considered high-end and they're powerful enough for high-end gaming, streaming, and content creation. Examples of some parts you could use are AMD Ryzen 7 7800X3D for the CPU, which is one of the best CPUs on the market right now. For the GPU, either Nvidia GeForce RTX 5080 or 5070 Ti. For RAM, 32GB of DDR5. For storage, a 2TB NVMe SSD. And for the motherboard, a high-end B650 or X670 motherboard. For the PSU, you could go from 750 to 1000 watts power supply. It's up to you. And this type of system can run modern games at high settings and high resolutions such as 4K Ultra. I also forgot to mention that for reliable PSUs, the SPL PSU tier list is amazing for finding good PSUs for each wattage. It will be linked in the description, so please visit it to find good PSUs. Now we'll move on to part 3, which is actually building the PC. Step 1. Take the motherboard out of the box. Take it out carefully with the foam layer that's provided underneath and place it on a non-conductive surface. Usually this is the actual box itself, and the foam layer protects the pins underneath and it protects the board while you install the main components onto it before installing it into the PC. Step 2. Install the CPU and CPU cooler. You want to first open up the CPU socket by lifting the metal lever and frame. Then align the small triangle on the corner of the CPU with the small triangle on the socket and gently place the CPU into the socket. Once it's in place, close the lever to secure it. Make sure before you close the lever you don't push down on the CPU because this could damage the pins. And closing the lever takes an awkward amount of power, but if it takes too much, then stop because you might be damaging the pins. After installing it successfully, apply a small pea-sized amount of thermal paste if it isn't already applied to the cooler. Then place the CPU cooler on top of the processor, line it up properly and secure it according to the cooler's instructions. Finally, connect the cooler's fan cable to the CPU fan header on the motherboard. The header is a port on the motherboard usually found close to the CPU, and if you're using a AIO, you might want to do the CPU cooler as one of the last parts after plugging the motherboard into the PC. Step 3. Installing the RAM. RAM is one of the simplest parts of the PC building process. Take the RAM out of its casing, open the clips on the RAM slots, align the notch on the RAM with the slot, and press down firmly until the clips snap into place. You'll know when they snap into place if you hear a clicking sound, and make sure you refer to your motherboard's manual to see which RAM slots are the best and most optimal for maximum performance, because usually motherboards have 4 RAM slots and sometimes there are 2 that are separated, so you'd want to know which ones are the best. Next is step 4, installing the storage. If you're using an M.2 SSD, insert it into the M.2 slot on the motherboard at a slight angle and secure it with a screw. If you're using a SATA SSD or a hard disk drive, it will usually be mounted later inside the case. The M.2 slot looks like a small screw you can remove and a small port where you actually plug in the M.2s. Step 5. Installing the motherboard into the case. Now you want to look at your PC case. On the top left side there will be a lot of screws in random places. Unscrew all of those and keep them on one side. Move the motherboard inside the PC case, which is on the top left side, and make sure you put the I/O shield, if you need to, above all of the ports on the top left of the motherboard before actually installing it, if your motherboard comes with one. And then line up all of the screw holes of the PC with the motherboard screw holes and screw them all in. Sometimes the motherboard will have extra holes or the PC will have extra screws. If they don't fit with the motherboard, do not try to make them fit. You only need however many are provided to you. Step 6. Installing the power supply. Slide the power supply into the PSU compartment in the bottom left of the case and secure it with screws. Make sure the PSU fan is facing upwards or in the other proper direction so it can pull air. Then you'll need to connect all of the wires to their respective slots, which might need a separate video, or watch a video from another creator to explain that more. When you're done with that, you can move on to the next step. Step 7. Install the graphics card. Remove the expansion slot covers on the case and insert the graphics card into the PCIe slot on the motherboard. Press down until it clicks into place, then secure it with the screws provided. Keep in note that the PCIe slots are under the CPU and they are long golden slots that have a small notch on the left side of them. There are usually 2 in a PC case, one that's long and one that's smaller, and make sure that you plug in the GPU to the longer PCIe slot. Now step 8. Connect the cables to the GPU themselves. Usually some GPUs only need fewer than others, and sometimes with very weak or old GPUs you might need none. Some need 24, some need 12, some need 16. There are many different types, so you need to refer to your GPU's manual for that. Now the final step, after everything is plugged in, everything is secured and you're sure that everything is done, before closing the PC case and everything, plug the PSU into the power and turn on the PC after plugging the GPU into the monitor. If something doesn't light up or there is a flashing light on the motherboard, that indicates that something is wrong. But usually nothing will be wrong and it will show something on the screen like a blue terminal or something. It will boot up and you will be able to tell that the PC is working and the fans are spinning and everything. From there on, you need to install an operating system, which it's better to refer to another creator because some people prefer their separate operating systems and there are many different types. Once you see that it works, turn off the PC again, unplug the power cable and do any cable management and close the PC as you would like, and then when you're done you can boot up the PC and start doing everything else with the software. And that's how you prepare for and build your own PC step by step. By understanding the parts, choosing the right components for your budget and carefully assembling everything, anyone can build a computer. Building your own PC is a great way to learn how computers work and customize a system that fits your needs. But be sure to watch other videos and tutorials to see other people's perspectives and ways of building, and also to know what the parts actually look like and where everything goes. It is heavily recommended to either do to the expert or watch lots and lots of videos that explain how to do everything, as watching one video alone will not be enough. And sometimes people like to change what parts they use. For example, if people play more games than work, they get a slightly better GPU and a worse CPU. Some people are using it more for work, they get a better CPU and a worse GPU. So make sure that you fit your needs, because it's called a PC, which stands for personal computer, so make sure you make it personal to you to fit your needs. If you have any questions, you can either search it up, watch other videos, or comment down below and I will try to answer and help you the best I can. Thank you for watching, have a great day everyone, and stay safe, and I'll see you in the next one. Hello everyone, thank you for watching the full video. I wanted to add another short disclaimer to tell you all to please watch other videos and do your own research before deciding to build a PC. My tutorial does not go very in depth in some parts and is not the easiest tutorial to follow ever, and it would be a lot better if you do your own research, because there are some parts that I did not go very deeply into. I also wanted to give credits to Linus's Tech Tips, as their video titled First Person View POV PC Build Guide is the one I use for most of the clips of actually building the PC, as lots of my clips from building my own PC are very hard to follow because you watch them from a side angle instead of from your own point of view. And thank you everyone again for watching the full video. Please keep in mind that this is for a school project, so this is not the best video ever, and there are other many better tutorials out there that would go more in depth and explain more, so don't use this as your only way to build a PC and your only tutorial. Do your own research, and thank you all for watching the video sincerely. Please give me any feedback or questions you have in the comments and I will try my best to help you and answer them.